Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The In Between. I'm your host, Elizabeth Cheney, and I have a special guest for y'all this week. I have Kelly Mondora here on the podcast today. Kelly is the founder of Ilios Lighting. What's that, you ask? Well, it's the first and only makeup mirror that mimics perfect natural daylight. Yes, you know how we love the selfies outside? Imagine getting your makeup done outside, but inside. We love that. So launched in 2021, it has quickly grown. It's gained the attention of the likes of, I don't know, Kim Kardashian, Bella Hadid, Tati Westbrook, Patrick Starr. It's in over 250 stores globally. I mean, it's so badass. It's so cool. I know you've heard of Neiman Marcus, Bloomingdale's, Target.com, and that's just naming a few. So I'm so excited to have Kelly on the podcast today. She's going to talk about her story and what makes her company unique. We're also going to talk about the holiday season, maybe some new products coming up, and then most importantly, a very special campaign, hashtag Brighten the Fight, that is supporting a cause. It's super important to Kelly's heart. I think a lot of us have ties to it, but breast cancer awareness. So on that note, I'm going to quit talking and I'm going to give it to Kelly. Kelly, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Elizabeth. Thanks for having me. It's so nice to meet you.
Well, I'm really excited. I'm so glad Brooke put us in contact to each other. And my first question is, you were in the professional lighting industry before this ever happened, right?
I was actually, when I was 23, just like literally out of college, newly married, I took a job as a data entry clerk for a photo lighting company. They're actually one of the largest in the world now. And I worked there for 20 years and worked my way up from the bottom. And I eventually became president and a shareholder.
Wow, that literally is started from the bottom. Now we're here. Oh my gosh. I was going to say, I take it you're not doing data entry anymore. That's
No.
so impressive. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, that's so cool. So how did you get the inspiration for Ilios?
It was like I always loved lighting. I
Okay.
loved doing that. I loved working with photographers and videographers. And at that time, my kids were going into high school and I traveled a lot. So I kind of hit the point where I'm like, I just want to do something different. And, when they hit high school, you've got like college visits and all those exciting things. And it's such an important time. So I think my husband thought I was crazy, but I decided to sell my shares and I'm like, I want to do something new. So I made this whole crazy life change. Oh yeah, just
Oh my God.
completely
Wow.
the
Wow.
only job
Okay.
I basically knew out of college and I loved it. And I was just like, it felt right. And I took that a couple years and I spent that time with my kids and it was amazing. But it was funny because probably 2 weeks after I made and went through that whole big decision, my daughter was getting into makeup and she was watching all the famous YouTubers. So
Okay.
she was coming to me with a lot of questions of, Mom, should I get a ring light? What kind of makeup mirror? And so that moment, it's just the lights kind of went off and I'm like, oh my goodness. Nobody's ever made a makeup mirror and a ring light. It's like a necessity with something that is so amazing, especially in today's digital world.
Oh
And
yeah.
then as I get older, my eyes becomes very hard for me to see. And I knew like if I could combine a magnified mirror with the light of a ring light, this could be really cool.
Yeah. Sign me up and like everybody behind me because we are all, yes, absolutely. When I was just talking about you and your product to some of my girlfriends, they were like, Google's Ilios Lighting very quickly because that is such a need. Like we look great outside. If I could do my makeup outside, I would. So for you to create something like that is so incredible. So I want to pause real quick. So you did not leave your company to start Ilios. It was just kind of a lining of the timeline of your life, so to speak.
It
It could
was.
just kind of.
I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted something a little bit more my baby. I had so much fun in the photo industry and love what I did, but I wanted like a new challenge and I didn't know what that was. And so I'm like, you might as well take the leap. You have to do it eventually. I'm going to do it
Yeah.
now and figure out that next chapter.
That is very like okay, excuse me, but very badass. For because that was such a comfort zone. You were in such a position of power, sure, yes, but it's what you know. You've worked really hard to grow that career, and then you decide, I'm ready for a change. I love that. That is so inspiring, just alone. So, what exactly? So, when you worked in lighting, did you ever do? I'm assuming you weren't a photographer or anything like that, but were you ever like on sets and things like that
Yeah.
too?
That
Yeah.
That became my love. Like, even though I'm not a photographer, I think that was kind of a benefit because it allowed me to look at things very holistically. And
Yeah.
one of the things I did in my old company that I loved is I would spend time with some of the most famous photographers and videographers, and I'd sit down with them and I'd say, tell me about what you do. Bring me into your world. What works for you? What doesn't work for you? What could make things better? And it really allowed, that company, and it's what I'm doing also with Ilios, to make things that filled voids that people really needed. And I became very passionate about it. So product development and lighting for me, it's just everybody's got their thing. That's my thing.
I love that. And I also love that you said you saw a need that you wanted to fill. I think that's really beautiful. So I guess you didn't think you were going to be an entrepreneur your whole life. Was that like the first thing? Okay.
No, I am kind of embarrassed. I'm not super book smart. Like growing up, I was never like this super smart, whatever. But I've always been a hard worker. And I think part of entrepreneurship is just like, it's like a weeble wobble. It's the best way to describe it. Like being able to get back up when you're pushed down and learn new things. And for me, I love the challenge. Like even till this day, when you stop learning, that's not a good thing. So I love going out there and learning new things. And I think that's part of the entrepreneurial spirit.
Absolutely. And I feel very aligned to that statement. The more you go at it, the less imposter syndrome. And I don't know. You have to have confidence. Like my big pillar is self-love because I went through my own mental health battles and I picked myself up through the help with therapy and things like that. And I realized the power of self-love. Like if you love yourself enough to get help, love yourself to push forward. And that has only benefited me exponentially in this whole pursuit that I'm doing myself. So I think that's beautiful. That's a great outlook for anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur. It's not always easy. It's not always linear, but you just got to bet on you. And it sounds like you did that. And I think that's beautiful. So it makes sense to me that with your expertise that you would create a showstopper mirror because it sounds like you're very involved, yes, but you're very intentional with everything that you're doing. I can see the heart and the energy behind that. When you talked about the idea that there was something missing, like in the market for your daughter, was the idea to also bring this professional grade product to consumers?
Yes. So after I had the initial idea, I like literally was like, okay, what do I do now? So I bought every makeup mirror out there and I have this my little nerdy device. So I would sit there and I would test it. And that was kind of my first step. And then I put a little call out on our Facebook local like our community page. And I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, I'd love to talk to any makeup artists out there. So I'd bring makeup artists and I would
Oh,
say, bring me into your world.
that's so
Tell me
smart.
what you. And so I started to do that with everyday users. And that kind of brought everything together to say, okay, makeup mirrors use old technology and they're not big enough and they're not bright enough. And there were a lot of needs not being met by makeup artists. And I was surprised that a lot of makeup artist lights weren't even utilizing the professional photo and video quality lighting.
Oh, wow.
So at that time, I knew I'm like, this is something that can truly be unique and different. Like we can be the first ones to ever utilize that technology and put it into a makeup mirror that simulates putting your makeup on outdoors.
I love that. And I'm assuming professional grade products, equipment, that's going to be much higher price tag. So you made it also, I feel like, accessible for the consumer. That's incredible. So you launched in 2021. How long did it take you to get to that point?
It took me it took me a few years. Part of that I was enjoying time with my kids. Everybody thinks you just make a product and then you go. It's
Yeah,
really
easy
hard.
peasy, right?
We had COVID, so you had that come along too, because we launched in 2021. And so, I mean, it took years, but everything that we did was designed from the ground up. So it's, drawing sketches and putting your ideas on paper and then working with an industrial design engineer. And it morphed. Like the very first one that we designed, it looked like a Hershey Kiss. It had a speaker in it. It was absolutely awful. And
I
we thought,
love it.
I thought it was, I was like, oh, this is the best thing. So it's kind of an evolution. And I think with product development, you kind of get to that point where you're like, okay, we're here. And a lot of times people will just keep making changes to it and never launch. So I think it's finding that balance of making something that you're really proud of and putting it out into market, but also not nitpicking so much that you're holding yourself back. Sometimes you just have to pull off the Band-Aid and go.
That's beautifully said. I know I struggle with that. So there's a fine line between being like a perfectionist and like knowing that what you have is good and just trusting that and going, because you can always alter here and there a little bit, this and this, that and that. So you did your market research by trying all the different products. You are engaging with your community, trying to just get a pulse on, what's going on. It took you a few years to get launched with the product. I know you worked with some very well-known professionals in the photography and makeup space. So what was that like? When were they brought in on the launch?
So Jerry Gionis he's one of the top wedding and portrait fashion photographers worldwide. He's probably the biggest lighting guru that I knew, and I worked with him with a product back in my photo days. So I brought this product to him because I knew he'd be picky. And it was so funny because I was like, okay, he's going to rip me apart if he doesn't like this, and he's going to look at this from a professional standpoint. And so I bring it to him, and he's Australian, and he's so funny. He's like, oh, Kelly, this is really nice, And so he got really excited, and he's like, this is our lighting, because we worked on a wand style LED. It was one of the most fun projects I had. And so he recognized the fact that, oh my goodness, this thing is really something truly special. So he came on board and shot so many of our beautiful images and videos and everything that you see. And then I also wanted to kind of take things up a level and reach out to like a really, really well-known person in the space and just say, okay, I know my friends in my community are all going to tell me they love it, but I need like the real deal. And so I discovered Mario Dedivanovic, Makeup by Mario. And
yes.
I sent him an email and I'm like, hey, I come from the photo industry. I developed something that I think is really great, and it incorporates lighting that I don't even think you've seen in your lights as a makeup artist. Can I show it to you? And
just like that, you just like a cold outreach kind of thing.
Like a cold outreach, and
so cool.
It was amazing. And I created a video to show him. I'm like, time is money, and here's the product, and here's me. And I'm thinking, oh, like there's no way that. And he responded back, and he's like, I'd love to see it. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
What did you do when you got that response? Did you freak out?
Yeah, I was like, oh, the funny thing was like, I was like, oh my God, I got to get a prototype like ASAP. So that was really, and it was amazing. And, he helped me a lot through the project. And, we were communicating a lot because, again, we're, during the midst of COVID and the design process of all of this. And he was absolutely wonderful at bringing me into the world of makeup. And he helped bring me down to earth where, I referred to so many technical terms, and he would be like, Kelly, nobody talks like that. Nobody talk like that. And so it was great, wonderful, wonderful person, and just a lot of fun working with him on that product.
That is so cool. I just want to give you real quick credit. Like, putting yourself out there is so, I'm learning. The more I do it, the easier it gets. But to get to that threshold is a little unnerving, for lack of better words. And I'm not saying that it was he was the first person you ever reached out to, but to blind reach out like that. So you have the confidence, you're like, I'm just gonna put it out there, because what's the worst case? He ignores me. That's just what happens. But then you get Mario, Makeup by Mario, to be like, hey, this is amazing. Oh my God, that is so cool, Kelly. Like, man, that must felt so fulfilling. So I have to ask, do you still struggle, or did you struggle with imposter syndrome? Do you still struggle with it in all of this? Because what I see is a incredible, badass woman who bet on herself and created a product that obviously was needed. And now she has seen beautiful success from that.
I struggle. I think everybody does. Self-confidence, it's hard. Like, there are days and I think sometimes people don't talk about this enough. Like, when you start a business, for every one fabulous day you have, you're going to have 6 that are they're awful.
Amen.
And
Amen.
You know what? I think that you have to celebrate the victories, and then don't let, because there are some things that, during a business when you're launching, it's like, why did I do that? What was I thinking? And I think you just have to kind of like regroup and say, okay, everybody makes mistakes. How do you make it better? How do you move on? How do you do this? But it's hard. It is. It's very, very difficult. And I think as women, we tend to put more pressure on ourselves sometimes.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know if you're anything like me, but comparing myself to other people, it's not that I am it's not about keeping up, but it's like, okay, when you're having those 6 days that aren't the best days, it's because that is the truest thing I've ever heard. Mine might be like 10 bad days for one, but that's okay. That's okay. But it's it's the constant effort of just pushing through. But it's not that I'm comparing myself per se, but it's like, am I doing enough? Oh, this person's posting all the time, or this person's doing that. And it's just quieting the noise and just believing in yourself, believing in the path. But it's hard. And I for at least for me, I have to constantly like work at it, because it's something that doesn't take much, but because you're doing something a little different, right? You're kind of off the beaten path. You don't have any like safety posts or guardrails to guide you along. You're kind of doing it yourself. So it's like, oh, I don't want to use that as my pulse, but I can't help but compare myself to them, because like I don't have nothing else to compare to.
Well, and when you have those bad days, you're always looking at everything else, like the glasses, full on the other side, where it's like, oh, and it is. I think people struggle with it. If they don't admit it, then they're heroes, because I think we all do.
I love that. They're heroes. I was like, get out of my diary. That's what I write. Like, tomorrow's going to be a better day. I'm going to do it right. No, that's incredible. So I know you have several different products. I'm just curious because like the full mirror was like the first product. So
yeah.
With your launch, where did the other different products come? Because you have like the compact one, there's like the wall one. I guess they're just different versions of your product. But I am just curious, when you have an idea, do all those little popcorns come at the same time, or how?
Different. The second one we launched was the rechargeable mirror, and that's the one that can either go on the wall, on a table, or on a suction cup. And when I would travel, I would bring my beauty ring. That's our first one, everywhere, because I'm obsessed. Like, I'm the crazy traveler that brings it everywhere. But when I would do international trips and I was like, how much can I get in a carry-on? I don't have that much. I did not like that I couldn't bring my mirror with me. And so that's where the rechargeable came in. I'm like, I need to create something that people can use at home and also be able to attach to like the mirror in the hotels to give you good lighting. So that's where that one came from. And then the compact mirror was just, all compact mirrors are too small. Like when you open them
Yes,
up.
they are. Thank you.
What, my eyes are not like, what am I looking at? I can see like half an eye or like part of my nose. And so for that one, it was like, okay, we need to make it bigger, brighter, and we need a shut off timer in it. Because I would close it and throw it in my purse, and then I'd get up the next morning and it would be dead. And so those were kind of the things.
So smart. So smart. So it took you a few years to get to this point, but now here you are. So 2021, massive growth. You're in over 250 stores globally, which, I mean, Kelly, that is so badass. Because like when I was searching you and to see like, I mean, maybe it's just me, but I mean, I'm sure you feel the same way, but to see your product come up and it's like Neiman Marcus, Bloomingdale's, like all these high-end, well-named stores, like, that's incredible. And then you've also gained the attention of huge name celebrities. So my question is, how does it feel to not only see a dream realized, but to see it and how fast it's grown, to see the notoriety you've gained?
I mean, it's crazy. For me, it's always like goals, and then you try to check it off and move to the next one. But there are times, like I remember when it first started out, every time a notification on my phone, and I would just like look and anxiously like, oh, I got an order. Oh my goodness, another influencer posted. Oh my goodness. And to be where, we're at now, into all the retailers, it's just surreal. And I love the retailers. A lot of people ask like, why do you choose retailers, this and that? I love the retailers because I actually personally go into a lot of these stores and I travel around and I go in and I meet the people and I meet the wonderful salespeople. But that's like the only chance that I get to come out of my shell sometimes in the corporate day-to-day and to interact with customers, to interact with, the staff at the stores. And I think that's healthy for a brand because it gives me the ability to be able to see what's new in the beauty space, see what's new in makeup, and maybe
smart.
help embrace ideas on different things.
That is so cool. That's very, very smart. Very impressed. Again, you have I'm sensing it, like you are very driven and you are you have big picture. Like I feel like you can find all the little holes in the needs and you're good at filling those. I'm curious how, because you said president at your previous company where you got your start. So you have, I'm going to assume as the president, you got really good leadership experience. So how does that play into betting on yourself and continuing to put yourself out there? Because I'm sure that's helped grow as quick as it's grown, as to the capacity it has.
It does, but it's also a team. You can't do everything alone. When you start a business, it's very lonely because at the beginning, it's usually just you. So I think the other element of that is building a team and that can help get you to those levels. Not everybody can be good at everything. You have to surround yourself with
Right.
people that fill in your voids. And so I think that's definitely important for any entrepreneur.
Absolutely. So does your daughter think it's pretty incredible that her mother created this incredible product just because she was getting into makeup?
Oh yes, she was always the one. She's like, "Mom, I just watched Michaela Nagori's TikTok. Your mirror's in there. Mom, Bella Hadid posted a selfie." Like,
That's gonna be so cool.
she thinks it's pretty cool, and she's actually a model in a lot of the stuff that we shoot. So a lot of people
Really?
don't
Oh,
know
that's gotta be
that.
cool. Like, to be able to like work with your daughter with it.
Yes, yes, it's a lot of fun.
That's so incredible. I feel like no one's path is ever linear, and it's just it seems like you were made for this. Like that's what's so interesting. I feel like you've been a CEO of this company for decades because you're so confident in the way you talk and the way you carry yourself. So you're pretty epic founder, Kelly. Pretty epic founder, if I say so myself. So overall, you've been doing the work. You've been taking the pivots, 6 days back for one amazing day forward, as you do in this crazy pursuit. So we've seen the evolution of Ilios. Let's talk about what's next. Because, I mean, it sounds like you have such a robust, well-to-do company, but I know you have so many exciting things coming. Specifically, since I know we're getting close to October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I know that you have a very special campaign that is in ties to breast cancer awareness. And I know you have personal ties to breast cancer. Is that correct?
I do.
Do you feel comfortable sharing a little bit more about that? And then we can really get into the campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. My grandmother, my mother, and my Aunt Diane are all breast cancer survivors.
Wow.
So, although my grandmother has passed, I'm so proud that they're all survivors. But, when my
That's
mom got
incredible.
breast cancer, it was my mom. It was very, I think it was very hard on even me thinking, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? And I couldn't imagine, being on this planet without her. And so, I worry about my own risks with breast cancer, and I've, had some scares on different things. And, I'm one of those people that are very hard when to get the mammograms with the dense breast tissue and all of that other good stuff. So for me, I'm really passionate about awareness and making sure people are going in and getting their annual checkups and yeah, it's kind of I don't talk about personal things, but it's very special to me. So we wanted to do something for the month of October, and our compact mirror has been so popular that we are doing a pink version, and we're doing it's so cute. It's pink and it's got like a little
It
cute
sounds
velvet
cute.
bag, and it's just a gold logo. It's absolutely adorable.
Oh my gosh.
But we're doing 100% of the net proceeds are going to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, and we're hoping to be able to donate over $50,000.
That is incredible. I just got goosebumps. I don't know if you can see them, but I just got goosebumps. That is so cool. And I also think it's really exciting to roll out like a special product launch for something like it just makes everything even more special. So you said 100% of the proceeds are going towards Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is like putting money or putting your mouth where money is. What's the phrase? Your mouth where your money is. I think I just butchered that, but you know what I'm saying. It's, the older I get, the more people I talk to that do have some, strong ties to something like that. And it's really sad, heartbreaking that it affects so many people. But I think it's beautiful that you are using your passion, your product, your heart to benefit something. I mean, 100%, that's really incredible. So I'm just giving you my own personal take on that. Like, I think that's really special. And it's a cute launch, a cute product. I can't wait. So cute. So that starts in October 1st.
It's in October, and we even it's a limited edition. The inside of the box, we reached out to our customer base, and we gave people the ability to be able to honor a fighter or survivor or someone that was lost. And so on the inside, when you open it up, there's names of women all on the inside, and it's really neat.
That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I don't really have words for that. That's so special and thoughtful. I can't imagine what those people are going to feel like when they see that. That's beautiful, Kelly. Man, Okay, well, that I don't even anything else that you want to share about this. Like that's just that is so like I said intentional earlier. I know we live in a capitalistic society. I say quotations. We literally live in a capitalistic society. Don't know why I did quotations for that. And it's just it's really it is beautiful and it is inspiring, if I'm going to be honest, to see a founder who, yes, I created a product. That's great. I love the clout. I love the notoriety, and I believe in my product. And I believe in my product so much that I wanna use it to benefit something completely separate from myself, wholeheartedly, 100%, no questions asked. That is very commendable, and I just want to say, like, my hat's off to you for that because it's nice to see. Because I feel like we don't see it too often. So I as person, not that my opinion matters that much, but I appreciate that as a consumer because it also makes your brand more real, more honest, more relatable in a way too. Because like I said, so many people have been affected by cancer to some degree, I feel like.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah. So we talked about the campaign. I know the holiday season's coming up, which is honestly insane. I can't believe it's August. No, it's not even August. It's September. See, oh my gosh, I don't even have the month right. So do you have anything exciting coming up for the holidays? What's going on?
We do. We actually have a new product launching October 9th. I'm so excited. We've been working on this thing for 2 years. And
Wait, in addition to the
yeah,
campaign?
yes. So we have it's like yes, we're doing them back to back. Like we were really passionate about starting the campaign on October 1st because we felt the timing and everything of that. But yeah, we have another product we've been working on. It is probably the most advanced circuitry. There goes the tech nerd in me again.
I was
But
like, what does that mean exactly?
it's just, I'm so excited. So it is launching October 9th. And I guess the only thing I could say about it, it is a lot different than other things in our product. It's just very sexy and sleek. So it's very unique.
And it's a okay. I'm not allowed to guess, am I?
Sure.
You said sexy and sleek. Is it weird? The first thing I thought of was like some type of sex toy, or is that? I'm
Oh,
just
let's
kidding.
go next year. No, I'm just kidding. No, it is along the lines of a mirror, but it's really different. And yeah, it's sleek and sexy.
Okay. So October 9th, in addition to hashtag brighten the fight. So basically, any clips, promos, I'm going to make sure I put the hashtag to get the brand awareness out there, the rollout. And I am so intrigued to know what this sexy, sleek, because you lit up when you started talking about it. So I am like, I have to know what this is because
Everybody I have showed it to, they like light up. So it is just I'm so excited for this launch. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
you're like a pioneer, like in the consumer mirror light space, which again, didn't realize there was such a need. But after seeing your products and seeing the difference, because I think that's so beneficial, like on your website, how you show what different lights will present and then your light. And it's like, oh my God, so different. Like I don't even feel like I'm duped. My goodness. So that's really, really cool. I want to say one thing. You mentioned earlier that growing up, you didn't think you were really book smart, but you were very driven. Or has that given you any more kind of imposter syndrome or challenges? Because, I mean, for you to be a data entry, what'd you say, clerk specialist person, like you're
Entry.
just plugging in info, to then be the president, to then roll out your own product, your own company, it's grown to the mammoth that it has. I mean, I think that is so incredible. So maybe not imposter syndrome, you can speak to that, but just how does it feel now looking back on everything, your career, your past, and where you are today? How does it feel?
I mean, I think it's funny because I guess I don't think about that kind of stuff sometimes. I'm so thankful for all the experiences that I've had. I'm so thankful to my original company for letting me grow within that company. And they every time, back I'm 23 years old, and they would say, "We need somebody to do this." I'd raise my hand. "I'll do it. I'll go. I'll do this." And so back then, I probably didn't realize how much I was learning, and then it just kind of hit me like a thing of bricks, and it's like, oh my goodness, I know a lot, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy. I love it. I'm very passionate about it. I can't imagine doing anything different. And for me, I just hope that I can help I inspire other women to go after their dreams and take the leap, because half the time, again, it's just doing it, ripping off the Band-Aid and going. And Yeah, I think sometimes people don't give themselves enough credit. They get nervous and they're like, oh, I can't do it because I'm not smart enough or I'm not this or that. It's like if you have tenacity and spirit and you believe in yourself, like just do it. You'll figure it out.
Snaps, Kelly. I literally, on my whiteboard, I have a quote that says, leap and the net will appear.
Aw.
And I mean, sometimes it's easier said than done. Sometimes I'm like, where is the net? Because I don't feel it. But it is,
Will appear. I love that.
and it really has helped guide me, especially when I first rolled out the podcast and I was like, so intimidated talking by my first episode was 8 minutes long and I'm terrified. But now looking back on it, I'm like, I'm so glad I did that. Like consistently, constantly putting myself out there. And I am now creating the life I dreamed of. I mean, I'm not quite there yet, but it's to be on that path. I'm now at the place where it's exciting to know that I'm doing this for myself. Do I know where it's going? No, I mean, of course I have ideas, but like we're on the uncharted path, right? I'm sure you can relate to that. And it's just believing on yourself, because why not you, right? Anytime I doubt, I ask myself, why not me?
You have a great personality too. You come across, it's just, yeah, it's great.
Well, I feel very kindred to you as well. I may be a little loud, former theater kid, but you have such a light energy, very, very bright, very positive, very driven. And I find that inspiring. I know other people will find it inspiring. And I am always here for any conversation around betting on yourself, because I think that's the most intimidating thing you can do. And just to circle it back to like my big pillar about self-love, that is the ultimate form of self-love, to believe in yourself enough to do something that you want to do, even though you're terrified.
I love it. Very well said. Love it.
Well, Kelly, I can't wait to see what happens I can't wait for the campaign. I can't wait for this new Sexy Sleek product. I'm like LOLing at me calling it a sex toy, but like you said, next year's launch, we'll call Goop, we'll call Gwyneth, be like, hey, Gwyneth. Just kidding. But that's so exciting. So I'm going to let you tee up your social where everyone can find you, everything like that. But I do want to ask, what are some last, or not even last, but do you have any advice to anyone listening? Maybe they have a product idea, because that's how you started. You didn't even have a prototype when you reached out to Make Up with Mario. So if anyone has an idea, but they're terrified, because where do you start? Anything like that. What do you say?
I would say network with your community, believe in yourself, and research. Like we are so fortunate to have the amount of information at our fingertips, and a lot of it is just dig in, research, figure it out, find it, talk to different people. I think that's always the best way to go into it, and you'll be surprised. There are so many wonderful people out there. Like I have a mentor from my local community, and you can find people out there that will help you and kind of whether it's just running an idea or different things. I have like a marketing mentor and a business mentor, and, finding those people. And then I think once you get to that level, sharing your experiences, what you've done wrong and what you've done right with others too. So you're always kind of constantly giving back and helping others through some of those challenges as well.
So do you coach other entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs and things like that?
I try to. I work a lot. Like I even work with the local high schools and the DECA teams, and I go in and I talk
DECA, I remember that.
DECA. I go in and talk to some of the local kids that are thinking about going into business, and I'm probably more known for giving the real. Like I'm not gonna, unicorns and rain. Like I'm just gonna like pull everything together and like tell you everything, like the hard, the good, the bad, the rewarding, and all of that. So yeah, I want to continue to do that more.
I think that's really important too, because like how we talked about earlier about like comparing yourself, they always say social media is the highlight reel. You don't often see the struggle, like the come up. You just see the outcome. You don't necessarily, like an overnight success typically takes 10 years. That's a joke that I will say with some of my friends. Well, the overnight success took 12 years to get there. Like that's just how it is. But I think what makes or breaks is you have to just believe in yourself enough to just keep going. And because you seem like such a positive person and such a beautiful light, I can't think of a better person to give that message, because it's also like believable, because sometimes the hard truth, when it's just like okay, I didn't ask for you to be a jerk, I just needed you to boost my confidence a little bit. My gosh.
Oh my goodness.
you know who I'm talking. I'm not talking about a specific person, but the type of thing. So no, I think that's really special. And one thing I also want to point out, or not point out, but one thing I want to say, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. one thing I've learned is as we walk this unbeaten path, this unknown path, and there's speed bumps and pivots and this and this and that and that, you don't know how it's going to work out, but things keep working out because when you're on your path, you meet people. Like, I'm Googling podcasting. Well, I'm going to find people in podcasting. Then I'm going to connect with them. And then, boom, you make this connection. They introduce you to this person. They introduce you to that person. Then before you realize you're interviewing Kelly Mondora on your podcast, and it's like, wow, this is so cool. So do you have anything to say to that? It seems a little bit kind of like that's how your path was. You had this inspiration. You also had this incredible background in this industry. And then you basically took your intelligence, your expertise, and were like, well, I see a hole. I'm going to fill it because who says I can't? But the more steps you walked, even though you weren't sure where you were going, did you feel that? Did it feel like that to you where, things just happen because you're asking the questions, you're finding the right groups, you're Googling the right things?
I think that's important. I think just always having your eyes open and just thinking and whether it's coming across a very impressive person that you hold on to their information and maybe one day you have a position for them and you hire them, just those type of things. I think you always just kind of have to keep your mind open and, just be open to advice, opportunities, we're all good at some stuff and bad at other stuff. So I think, networking and being open to that, it's definitely important.
Absolutely. So final question.
Yes.
Well, actually, I'm gonna give you a real big final question. Then I'm gonna give you like a fun little final question.
Okay.
My big final question is, I know we talked about what's immediately next, but where do you see Ilios in the next 5-10 years?
I would love to just kind of keep expanding into lighting, maybe do some more expansion into beauty. I see it outside of just makeup mirrors, and that's really kind of my focus. And expanding more into the beauty space. Obviously, I want to expand more on an international level as well. And yeah, we've always got some fun stuff cooking.
Ooh, I love that. I'm curious, how does that work? Like, when you're coming up with different products, are you looking like 5-6 years down the line? I'm just curious, how does that work, product launches?
I always have, it's always like the here and now. So I always have my idea board where it's like, these are the products, but I try to look at things at least 5 years in advance to say, okay, if we do, and sometimes you might get there in 5 years, sometimes you might get there sooner, sometimes it might be longer, to say, okay, well, I want to achieve this in this category. Okay, then let's figure out, another area that we want to go into. What are our goals in that area? How does that align with our current brand now? And it's always evolving. So I think you don't necessarily, keep it in concrete, this is what we're doing, but it's just kind of that idea. And then you just kind of let that path kind of ebb and flow depending on how it works out.
Whenever you have your masterclass on how to launch a product, start a business, will you please give me a call just so I can take it? Thank you. Please and thanks. I'm serious. Okay. My goodness. I'm just picturing you on the masterclass promos I always get. It's like, have you ever wanted to launch a product? I'm Kelly Mondora. Like, seriously. I'm so well spoken. Hey, put that idea down. Seriously, though. As the whole time you were talking, I was like, you are so intelligent. Like, you are, I don't know what you're saying about books, but you are so smart. I would definitely take a class from you. So I mean that. But my last fun question. Okay. So what are you currently in between? And it can be literally silly. It could be stupid. It could be serious. It could be small. It's whatever you interpret.
In between. Oh, I'm going to take it personal.
Ooh. Even that's my favorite.
I am in between, and I think and I don't know why my mind went to this first. I'm at that stage. I'm an empty nester. I am in between the stage of your kids graduating and getting ready to graduate high school. My kids graduating from high school and getting ready to graduate college and start that journey. So I kind of I'm in between this, where I've my babies don't, need me as much anymore. And I'm watching them become these young adults, and it's very rewarding, but it's just kind of like watching somebody else's, path and watching your kids become adults and do what they love. And I love this time. It's kind of exciting. So yeah, so it's just, I'm in between.
Aw, I bet you inspire them all the time too, to see you kind of leading the charge. And I don't know, I think there's just something so magical about any person that bets on themselves to follow their dream. So I'm sure that plays into their life so strongly too to see you
Well,
do
my
that.
my son is the techie one, and my daughter, although quiet and sweet, I think she's our little quiet entrepreneur maybe one day.
Oh, so maybe she'll be taking a note from mom's book. Oh, I
Yeah, I
love
never
that.
know.
So, as I've mentioned, Ilios products are in so many incredible stores, Bloomingdale's, Neiman Marcus. I mean, seriously, I was like jaw dropped when I was going through your website. Where can everyone find you if you want to give your websites, any kind of
Yeah,
social handles,
absolutely.
anything like that?
Our website is ilioslighting.co, and then we're at Ilios Lighting on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube.
Perfect. Well, then I'll make sure that I link all of that in the show notes. I'll also tag everything in the episode clips. This episode will also be on YouTube, and we're going to get this ready for your hashtag Brighten the Fight. So I
Woohoo!
can't wait to see that because I just can't wait to see the little compact mirror because like you hit it on the head. They are so small. That's why I never use one because
Yeah.
like that's what it's like, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
goodness
100%.
gracious. So well, Kelly, this has been wonderful. I can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast and sharing your story. You are inspiring. You have a beautiful soul and you have an incredible product. So
You.
I feel really blessed to be able to have met you in your journey and I can't wait to see where it goes.
Thank you
So
so much.
woo-wee, man, that was a wonderful episode, if I say so myself. I hope you all enjoyed it just as much as I did. Big thanks to Kelly Mondora for coming on the podcast, The In Between, this week. As I mentioned, you can find her products in so many stores I'm sure you recognize. And be sure to check out her new special product launch for the hashtag Brighten the Fight campaign. Remember, 100% of the proceeds benefit the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, so it all goes to a great cause. Cheers to wonderful founders, creators, and anyone following a dream. You know that speaks to my heart and soul, so I hope today's episode left you inspired. I know I've been a little MIA the past few weeks. Do not worry. We're going to catch up on all the things next week on an all new In Between. We are going to get back to our regular scheduled programming. I assure you, everyone. I assure you. You know, you can always keep up with me on Instagram at ElizabethCheney_ and at in.betweenpod. Yes, that's two separate accounts. You can follow me on TikTok and YouTube at the In Between Podcast. And then my website, in-between.co. You can find all my information, catch up on all the episodes, and things like that. Welcome to my world. So I'm going to go. I will see you all on a new episode of The In Between next week. And until then, I am your host, Elizabeth Cheney. Bye-bye.